This is Larry Jordan, the host of the Digital Production Buzz. The following interview is an excerpt from a recent program. To hear the entire program, visit digitalproductionbuzz.com. We're in the Vitek booth, which is one of the largest companies in our industry, and Vitek has a number of different products, one of which is Manfrotto. Manfrotto is known for the camera heads that they make, but they also distribute products both in the UK and throughout Europe, and one of the new products they're distributing are Schneider lenses. And I want to learn more about what some of the new Schneider lenses are about, and to do that I've invited Jim Marks. Jim is a commercial director, specialized in doing a lot of different video, and he wants to talk about the new lens that Manfrotto is showing in their booth. Hello, Jim.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Tell me about what you've been up to as a director and as a DP.
Well, my career has been varied, I think we can safely say. I began as a stills photographer, did that for sort of almost 2 decades, and then about 6 years ago I changed into the moving image. So I came into sort of that world. To
expand or because stills dried up?
Do you know, smart question. Both is a simple answer. And it began being a sort of 80-20 split, bit of moving. It's now the complete reverse. 80% moving, 20% stills.
What kind of commercials have you done?
I do TV commercials, I've done it for insurance companies, I've done holiday commercials. So it's a mix between web, TV, and because I use reds, I also pull stills. So it's a real sort of, cross-media kind of thing.
Do you find a particular genre, a lot of special effects or lots of actors or what?
I'd like to say that I'm heading towards the world of drama. I think that's a fantastic thing to aim towards. I tell you what, at my age, 45, I like to learn new things, and I feel moving into film, I'm always learning, and I think that's the key thing. You never stop learning.
Well, that's true of the whole industry, not just of directing. What is the challenge that you've got as a DP? What are you looking for? Is it just the look, or are you fighting technology all the time?
Oh, it's both. I mean, one of the great things about this glass is it's full frame, and as we've seen with red, with the sensor change, my Dragon sensor still works with these at full frame because that's bigger than Super 35.
Now tell me what full frame means.
Full frame is the 35mm standard, if you like. When people talk about focal lengths, be it a 50 as a standard, 28 as a wide, or 100mm as a portrait lens, everyone still refers to that as the full frame standard. As we know, video cameras, the chips, the sensors come in many, many different sizes, and of course that kind of throws things out. So for instance, because this is a full frame camera, a 50mm, which would be a standard on a camera with a smaller chip, well, that's not a standard. That becomes a tighter bit of glass.
Okay, well, let's just hold up a second. What you're saying is that the image cast by the lens on the sensor fills the frame of a 35mm still.
Yes.
And some lenses don't fill the frame?
No. Well, the lenses do, but the sensors are smaller. So if you've got, say, a Blackmagic or a camera with a smaller sensor than full frame, the focal length, it has a slightly different meaning. So to get a standard lens, I'd need to drop to say 35mm rather than a 50 on this glass, which is why actually it's very important that they've got some wider glass, which they have. They've got a 25 now and an 18, which means you can get that wide point of view as well.
Okay, so what you're saying is that for people that are experienced photographers, they expect a certain image from a 50mm lens, or a certain image from a 100mm, more of a zoomed-in look.
Yeah.
And when you have a full-frame sensor, then you're getting a 50mm look that you expect. You don't have to retrain your eye.
No.
So for people that are new to photography, do they care?
Do they care? Perhaps not. No, I'm great, but I don't believe things have to be, whatever works for you, I think is the honest truth. But because I work on a lot of different cameras with a lot of different sensor sizes, you need to understand that. Otherwise, to be honest, you'll take the wrong lens with you to get the shot you want. You have to understand that. Yeah, it's not complicated.
So tell me about this lens. What is it?
This is a range of primes from Schneider. I would say they're at the affordable end of the market. I'm going to pick one up here because I can kind of show you. Key thing about them, what I like, is the size. They're actually quite small physically for cinema glass. And by cinema glass, I mean glass that has proper focus throws, okay, and markings for distance and a common front end. So one of the great things, because I work as both...
Let me just see. This is about, it feels like it's just a pound or two.
Yeah.
It's not very heavy.
Yeah.
when do you care about the length of the lens, or what are you judging the lens on? What criteria do you use?
Well, the first criteria has to be the quality of the image. I mean, I don't care what the lens is like if the image is not what I want. Do you know what I mean? As a DP, more and more, the glass you choose is a bit like film stock. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like the look.
It's that important?
Oh, totally, totally. 100%. I mean, the cameras, the chips give a particular look. You're shooting a nice flat image, perhaps. But no, I would think of lens choice for a DP is almost like film stock. Used to be when we were shooting film.
Now there's Cook Optics, there's Schneider lenses, there's Canon lenses.
Yes.
How do you decide which is what? Which do you pick?
That comes right at the beginning. It comes right at the beginning of the project when you go through the creative, go through the boards. What kind of look are you after? Do you want flare? Do you want it sharp? Do you want it cool? You know, cool. All these kind of different factors play into the kind of glass. Do you need autofocus or not? Or do you want to do everything manual? You know, those. It's right at the beginning as a DP that you decide the glass you want to use, and also the camera system. I mean, the camera for production is like a triangle. The camera is always at the top of the triangle. Okay, have a heavy camera, you need a heavy jib. Okay, the camera is always at the top of the triangle. So from the camera, everything flows down in that respect.
How would you describe the look of a Schneider lens, say, compared to a Cook?
Cook is a bit dreamier. Okay, a bit softer. These are very good commercial lenses, really good color rendition, lovely soft out of focus area, and I'd say truer colors. Do you know what I mean? More consistent colors in that sense. A Cook, and also a massive, I have to say, a massive price difference. Do you know what I mean in what we're talking there? Yeah, that's you know in those respects. So as I say, this for me is the kind of affordable end of cinema glass. It's what you would perhaps try when you kind of leave the world of stills lens behind, which is a big jump for a lot of people. Because a lot of people shoot very nice stuff on stills glass, and it's that education, learning what cinema glass can bring to your shooting and how it can improve it and how it can make it so much easier. You know, that's the key thing.
Now, you've made a big difference. These are prime lenses, which means they don't zoom.
Yes.
But for a lot of people that need the ability to change the look instantly, a zoom lens becomes critical.
Yes, yes.
When is it the wisest choice to have a zoom? When is it the wisest choice to have a prime?
If you're shooting, say, a commercial or something where the image quality is paramount and where light levels perhaps might be low, you might need the stop, you might need the speed, you're going to be on primes. If you were filming an event, for instance, I mean, that's a zoom. Do you know what I mean? I can't change the glass, I don't have the time, I'm in a challenging environment perhaps with weather, then I have to go with a zoom. But these are about image quality, they're about finessing the way you focus and deal with light, and that's what these primes bring to the table. So there is a split. I mean, it's like you know, you wouldn't use the old MX Red in low light. You'd use a C300. It's the right camera, the right lens for the right job.
Schneider makes a really lovely set of prime lenses. Do they do zooms?
Not yet, no.
So whose zooms would you recommend? What zoom lenses do you like?
I've got to use all sorts of zooms. I have to be honest. I've used zooms from every manufacturer. I'm not.
You're zoom agnostic?
I'm zoom agnostic. Absolutely. I've tried Canon zooms, Fuji. All with a particular look and a particular feel.
How would you, for people that are new to lenses, how would you describe the look
of a zoom?
Of a zoom.
There's a trade-off in terms of the quality and also the speed of the lens. Do you know what I mean? If I'm honest, in some scenarios, people might not notice the difference. Do you know what I mean? If it's very fast work in that scenario, but what you get here is something different that you can't get with a zoom. Do you know what I mean?
That is?
It's that completely drop background, the lightness. I think the key is the lightness. Often I'm having to gimbal it, okay, or go on my shoulder. If I've got a red on my shoulder, that's a heavy rig. I don't often want a big zoom. I think another key difference is the size. You see the size of that. A cinema zoom is going to be here, okay, and it's going to weigh a ton more. And I'm not a young man. And when I've got a director sort of shouting at me to sort of stand out there for another couple of hours, you know, often you can get better shots for longer with a prime, just simply because of the fatigue. and it's on my shoulder or moving around, especially with gimbals as well. If you've got a DJI or something like that, you want one of these. You don't want a heavy zoom on the front. You really don't.
Cool. So let me just add that the website you want to go to learn more about this lens is SchneiderOptics.com. Jim Marks is a cinematographer, a DP, and a commercial director. And Jim, thanks for joining us today.